You're listening to 91 Reasons, a journey into the twisted landscape of pop culture. Keep your hands and arms inside the podcast at all times. And now, the voice, Jeff Tucker.
Okay, so we're sitting here talking to my good friend Robby DeVillas. You know Robby. Robby's the guy that made the Don Berg cartoon.
That's me.
And voiced me.
That's right, I voiced Jeff Tucker.
And I voiced Don Berg. Oh, that's right.
Come on, Berg.
God damn it, Robby. What are you doing making a cartoon?
Because, I have to express myself creatively.
You know what happened? Is, there was Berg passed away.
No way.
Berg passed away. Yeah, he died.
Oh my gosh.
And in true Berg fashion, they had a funeral. And a lot of people asked me if I was going to go, and I said, no, I'm not. What am I going to do there, right?
Yeah.
They had it at a pretty well-known cemetery right here in Southern California. And my sister went. So I said, well, how was it? She goes, it was Berg to the end. They didn't rent a church. They didn't have a proper anything. They just took his ashes there and, said a few things at the funeral without any kind of, paperwork or total Bergified to the end, right?
Oh my God.
So we're having this discussion on Facebook with my sister, and she started talking about the cartoon, and Dawn's daughter suddenly butted in and said, "What do you mean cartoon?" And I'm like, boy, you're in for a rude awakening. Your father who just passed away, we turned him into a cartoon, right? So. Yeah, Berg and I had our problems.
Yeah.
I interviewed him at the end.
Yeah.
We talked. How many people can say they've done that? You made a great cartoon. I mean, it was a whole process, and this show really just helped me dissolve all of that anger I had growing up over this guy. You helped. The listeners have helped. So. I have no ill feelings towards Berg at all. I mean, the guy's dead.
Yeah.
He lived a full life. I discovered that at the end, he truly loved my mother. And that's really, that's all that counts. Yeah, he treated me like a nut. So did the other men in her life. So he was no different, right? He just was there longer. Right?
Yeah.
But anyways, you were telling me, you don't have to get into the specifics of it.
Yeah, sure.
You went to the Puppetry Museum in Atlanta.
That's right. I did. My cousin was getting married this last February, and I took a red-eye to get there, and I basically only got 2 hours of sleep. And I had about a 3-hour window between the time I woke up and the time I was supposed to leave for the wedding. And my parents had rented the car, and I was like, Mom, Dad, can we please go to the Puppet Museum?
Oh, I've seen pictures of this thing.
Because
what happens is that alarm going off
That's
again?
your alarm.
Every September they have Dragon Con.
Yes.
Which is the cosplay convention in Atlanta. And inevitably that gets connected because they all go to the Puppetry Museum. Because if you want to see some of the most beautiful costumes ever created, the ones created for Jennifer Connelly and David Bowie in Labyrinth are... Now, I saw them at Seattle in a touring thing. But the one in Atlanta has a lot more.
It's huge.
Because the touring thing was just little of this, little of that, little of this. And the puppetry one in Atlanta has Sir Didymus, right? And does it have Ludo? The big one? Not that it matters. But it has so many of them.
I don't... They
let me
might
ask
have
you,
Ludo.
did it have Hoggle?
No.
Because you know where Hoggle is, right?
I heard the story about Hoggle where basically, he was kind of lost and one day he was found in, a random suitcase and he was kind of decomposed because he was made of, that latex.
He's made of rubber, yeah. So when you lose your luggage and you don't claim it, there's a company in Atlanta that buys it and sells it at their thrift store. Because, 99% of it is socks, underwear, t-shirts, toothbrush, right?
Yeah.
But every once in a while they open the suitcase and it's something amazing. And they opened up Hoggle and he was rotting. The picture you can see pictures if you Google it. He looked like a nightmare. I think he's been restored, but they have a little wing of that thrift store of this is the stuff we find that's not for sale. and Hoggle's in there. So at least Hoggle didn't disappear.
That's good. That's good. That's a huge, important piece of history because he was the outstanding. It's basically a little person wearing a animatronic head.
Yeah,
right.
All done practical. If you watch the making of Labyrinth, she can't see. The actress in the part can't see, so they're just sort of pointing her in the right direction and trying to get the shots. It's with today's CGI and even with today's puppetry, where if you get into the editing lab and it didn't work out, you can fix it with CGI. You can fix anything with CGI. I mean, they fixed Superman's mustache, right?
Famous that. Well, also another famous one, or one of my things I like to hear is Daniel Craig in 007 in
I know what you're going to say.
Gloves.
He's wearing gloves.
In a couple scenes he's wearing gloves, but then they forgot that, wait a minute, he has that special gun that reads his fingerprint, but how can it read his fingerprint if he's wearing gloves? So they had to CGI his gloves out to make it look like his hands.
Would you have fired the continuity person? Like, their only job is to take stuff like that and, it's so dumb.
Right.
But back in the day, imagine working 16, 17 hours and getting like 3 shots on a movie as complicated as Labyrinth, where you either get it or you don't get it.
Yeah.
And you get it the next day.
Yeah, as an independent film person myself, I can totally see how this entire day is one shot.
One shot, right?
I totally get that, and I've been a part of other projects where that's kind of the whole day, where it's like this whole day is like 3 shots. It's just this 18-hour day is just a few things.
But when you get it, you get it, right?
It's the greatest.
I got it, because I was telling you, I saw Labyrinth opening day because it had George Lucas's name on it,
right?
And in the pages of Starlog, they went on and on about the CGI owl in the beginning credits, which, I mean, look, today it looks like, Luna could do it in 10 minutes on the computer.
Right.
But back then we were like, oh my God, that owl looks so real, right?
Right.
But there's a moment in Labyrinth, and Labyrinth is full of so many puppets that, thankfully, because the script is so good, you forget.
Oh, yeah.
You're more to the characters than you are the puppets. But there is a moment near the end where, at the time, I don't know if it's been eclipsed yet, but at the time, it was the largest puppet ever created. When the doors of the Goblin City close, and that puppet comes off.
Oh, yeah, the huge, giant, like, juggernaut
puppet. I just remember looking at it and going, I was a special effects fan. And I'm like, I don't know how they did that. That looks so real. Well, because it is. It is coming off the gate. And there's just something that today's movies, they don't have that.
Yeah.
I will tell you, we talked on the Avengers Infinity War show, we talked about Thanos and how coming to grips with the fact that Thanos doesn't exist is hard. Because he's so amazingly real that not one time during the movie, well, there was one time that I was like, there's no character there. It's not a real thing.
Yeah, it's just paint. Digital paint.
I can't believe it. It was the scene where they all gang up on him and Mantis is on his head. And I thought, how are they doing that if he's not physically there?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
That's pretty cool. They probably have some giant green screen, like, foamy thing, and they probably just sat on
I've seen the Hulk one they used for the Avengers. It looks like one of those things that you punch late at night.
Yeah, like
Ram Man or whatever it is.
Those bot bags.
Yeah.
Or because I've seen so many behind the scenes like Avengers things with the Hulk. Sometimes he's just in one of those motion capture suits. Sometimes he has the huge hands.
Yeah.
The Hulk hands.
Did you see where a guy took all the green screen footage of Doctor Strange? Because it's available somewhere. And he put Doctor Strange in a water park. So it's just him slipping and sliding around in a water park. It's very clever.
That's beautiful.
Very clever. I wish I had that kind of talent, but I don't.
That reminds me of the Shia LaBeouf.
Just do it. Yeah,
just do it.
But he did that on a green screen on purpose.
Oh yeah, it was a publicity stunt, and it's successful. And if I
have you seen that one where it's a guy like on his balcony?
No.
And he comes out and he's like, oh, God. He walks out and you can hear Shia LaBeouf.
Oh,
and the
I've heard
camera
this one.
turns
Yeah.
and he's yelling. He goes, what are you still doing here, Shia LaBeouf? Get out of here. He's like, you make your dreams real. It's so real. It's so creepy.
The magic of digital effects.
And it's only getting better.
Yeah.
What's that new thing called deep mapping or something? Have you seen that?
I might know what you're talking. Is it the thing where you can you shoot everything in focus?
No, this is something some guy made at home. It was on Reddit for a short time until even Reddit decided this is dangerous. Mm-hmm. And what it does is you tell this program that you're what celebrity to pick. Mm-hmm. So then it scours the internet. I'm doing way layman's terms here, right?
Okay.
It scours Google for all the images of that celebrity that it can find.
Uh-huh.
Then what you do is this guy was taking pornography, mapping out one of the actress's heads, and then telling the computer, all that footage you found, match it to this. And it matched it flawlessly.
Really?
He did one of Daisy Ridley from Star Wars, and you couldn't tell. I only saw a couple of seconds of it because they pulled it real quick.
Oh, wow.
But, this is scary stuff. And it was made by a guy at home.
Wow.
It wasn't made by ILM or Digital Domain.
Some dude, free time.
Just some dude who's like, hey, I'd like to make some fake pornography. And
right.
You're like, boy, what some guys will go to look at something. Oh my God.
Wow, they're basically, in a way, they're basically animating that in that pornography, basically.
Yeah. But it also brought up, you could show a robbery and put anybody's face on the robber.
And it's like, look, he did it.
Yeah, and it's indistinguishable. And we're going to reach a point where surveillance footage and stuff is not admissible in court. Because they're never going to be able to fully tell you it hasn't been messed with.
Yeah,
that's how good digital stuff is getting.
I've heard that the FBI or the U.S. Government is kind of switching back to physical typewriters because of all the hacking problems that are going
Russia
on.
already did.
Oh, that's right.
The Kremlin already did. They went to typewriters and handwritten notes because they can't be hacked. Mm-hmm. It's like during World War II when they used Indian languages. Because the not the Allies, but the enemies couldn't hack it because they didn't understand what the code was, the code breakers. They've made a couple of movies about that.
I haven't heard about
fascinating though
with the native languages.
Oh yeah, that was a real thing, and they made movies, and it's like we're going forward and then we're going backward at the same time.
Mm-hmm. It's like some of the retro stuff's coming out. You know what? That wasn't so bad. There's some perks to it. Especially on a national security level.
Yeah, well, my kids play video games that deliberately look like they were made for the Nintendo Entertainment System.
Oh, yeah.
That's an aesthetic that people aspire to.
Oh, yeah. I feel like with video games, it really doesn't matter what the graphics look like. It helps. But it's really just how fun is the game. That's
I know, you're totally right. Because they play games that look, they're just blocks. I mean, look at Minecraft. Mm-hmm. It's literally just blocks. And yet Josie played weeks at a time, building huge houses and crazy stuff.
Yeah, I've never played Minecraft, but I'm familiar with with how the aesthetic of it.
Here's the thing that I never would have predicted. I was a big fan, still am, Grand Theft Auto, greatest video game ever made, so much right? Fun. And it's mostly made for older men. It's an older man game, right? Young guys too.
Yeah,
but it's a guy thing. I mean, if you find a girl who enjoys Grand Theft Auto, marry her.
Right.
Right. But here's the thing: when I would come home and I wasn't playing, Josie was playing.
Yeah,
and I was like, "What are you doing playing Grand Theft Auto?" She said, "Oh, because it has online capabilities. You can play a character in Liberty City, right? Or what's the New York city called?"
Los Santos.
Los Santos is L.A., right?
Yeah.
You can play in that arena. You don't have to steal cars. You can just walk around. So her and her friends, 5 or 6 of them, would meet in the online Grand Theft Auto forum to play.
Maybe just go get a Starbucks in the digital
exactly,
world.
Right?
Going to an actual
but
Starbucks.
here's the weird part is because these are their father's accounts. Josie was on as Silent Bob Stash. and her friend was Stool Sample.
Oh my god.
And there was another one named DNA, like all these weird adult names, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I just thought, interesting how kids can adapt to technology so quickly.
Yeah.
Right? Of course, it devolved very quickly because I walked in one day. Luna, do you remember this? I walked in one day, and her and her friends were at a strip club in Las Venturas or something, right? Watching like have you ever seen the strippers in that game?
Sort of.
They're completely dead-eyed.
Yeah.
They look like they've got no soul, and they just are slowly moving back and forth.
Yeah.
And you throw money at them. And I thought, what are you doing? She goes, oh, we just decided to meet here because I was like, what have we done? What has technology done? Like, it's the darkest parts of Ready Player One.
Right?
Did you see that?
Yes, I did. Yes,
What'd you think?
I thought it was a really fun movie. I know, like, it got some critic backlash or review backlash, but like some of the haters, it's like it's a really fun movie, and I think some people were complaining that it wasn't like super deep. But I thought, it's a really...
Oh, how could it be super deep when
right?
he's driving a DeLorean and the other person's driving Bigfoot?
Right.
Like, somebody called it Pop Vinyl the movie. Because it's just reference. I was like, okay, I'll buy that, sure. But see, I know that going in.
Yeah.
So I don't have a problem with it.
And I like that the plot was pretty simple, which was basically like an action adventure version of Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
Yeah, exactly.
I know at one point Spielberg wanted to cast Gene Wilder,
yeah.
but he passed away. In his later years, he had dementia or Alzheimer's, and he
wasn't doing too well at the end.
Yeah. But I think the guy they cast did an incredible job, and I didn't realize that the guy who plays the founder, he's an Oscar winner from Bridge of Spies.
Yeah, he was also the BFG. So
he was the BFG. Oh, that was great.
When you get in with Spielberg, you get to do multiple movies with Spielberg.
I feel like that's another underrated movie is BFG. It's such a fun movie, and a lot of people, I don't think it's getting enough respect.
If I had to guess about it, I think the title put people off. Because it sounds like BFD, which is Big F and Deal. I know that's the title. It's a Roald Dahl book. I totally get it. But Disney, Spielberg, fantasy, it should have been a big hit.
Right.
I have no idea. Some movies just evaporate at the box office. You can't explain it, know?
If I had to describe the best part of that movie in 2 words, it would be farting corgis.
Oh, really? I didn't see it.
Just that, if you just YouTube it, it's my favorite part. Like, I was watching it on my phone, and I was next to my fiance, and she was about to fall asleep, and the farting corgis came on, and I lost it, and she jerked like, what? I'm like, I'm sorry, farting corgis. And she was like, go to bed.
I watched Ready Player One for the second time the other day, and the guy playing Halliday, who we were talking about, James Halliday.
Yes.
His voice mannerisms were very reminiscent of somebody else. And it was funny because I'm sitting there watching the movie, doing this Rolodex. What does he sound like? Because, hi, I'm James Halliday. Mm-hmm. If you're watching this, I'm dead. He's doing Crispin Glover. It's so Crispin Glover. And when you lay that on top of it, it's really weird. He's doing I'm a total nerd, Oh, I don't let anybody read my stories. What if they didn't like them? What if they said I was no good? I mean, I don't know, I'm the Back to the Future nut, so I'm projecting.
Yeah, he's like,
so I get that.
I couldn't handle that kind of a rejection.
Did you see Doc Brown in the movie?
What? He's in the movie?
Yeah, he's in Ready Player One.
Is he in there for a second?
Oh, yeah, it's a quick second. But, we went and saw it opening day on the biggest screen we could find to see all that. And even then, we missed so many references.
I mean, in a movie about Easter eggs, there's infinite amount of Easter. I feel like you could just go put it if you just stopped it frame by frame, you could almost find a new Easter egg in every frame. I'm
waiting for the Blu-ray. I'm going to watch it frame by frame because even Spielberg admitted that the special effects guys put in stuff they didn't have the access to. Because everything had to be bargained, Yeah, if you want Joust in it, you got to figure that out. You want Freddy Krueger and Chucky and Halo and Overwatch. But he says some of them just made it in, Because, did you read the book?
No.
You know when they go to that dance club? Mm-hmm. In the book, R2-D2 is the DJ. He's got all his little arms out spinning records. They didn't do that in the movie, but there is you can see R2-D2 at the end.
Mm-hmm.
He's in their apartment in the real world, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they were very clever about shoving, and there was very little Star Wars. R2-D2 was it, and the mention of getting him the Falcon.
Yeah, I heard, because it seemed like it was based, the majority of the properties that were there were either Universal, something Spielberg had direct access to, or Zemeckis. Those seemed like the main ones that were up front and center. And yeah, you didn't really see you only heard like mentions of it, but in the book, is the Falcon actually present?
I don't think so. I don't remember.
Okay.
There's an X-wing.
Okay, there's an X-wing.
Parzival has an X-wing. The book is different. Parzival in the book is, in the movie, he's okay. I mean, the girl's a much stronger character, Artemis. Mm-hmm. But in the book, Parzival is kind of an a-hole because he's right about everything. None of his plans ever fail. Mm-hmm. He's dead on in I know this because of this, and like after a while you get bored with Parzival in the book.
Okay.
But in the book he has an asteroid that he lives in the Oasis.
He lives in an asteroid.
So he has like this base of operations, and when he goes down to the hangar bay, he just rattles off. He's got a Firefly from Serenity and Firefly. Mm-hmm. He's got an X-wing. He's got the DeLorean. He's got all these things at his disposal that he's gotten in the Oasis. I think it was smart not doing that. They did it with H a little. Mm-hmm. H had the Iron Giant, and Pee-wee's bike, and the Eagle One from Spaceballs and that sort of thing. Yeah. And then that lunchbox full of all those ships. I mean, it was all great. Yeah. For a sci-fi pop culture guy, I was enraptured by the movie. I'm like, they're mentioning everything.
Yeah.
I thought that was fun. A lot of people had fatigue about that. Like, I'm bored. Give me a better story. But I was like, this is the story. Mm-hmm. They took huge liberties with the book. You had to, because the book is very bookish, and I'm doing quotes, bookish. Stuff in the book you could never do in a movie. Like, the first challenge is playing Joust, the arcade game. And I thought, well, maybe they're going to put him on an ostrich and really make him do it. Mm-hmm. And instead they did the race, which was cinematically much better.
Oh, yeah.
Now,
really
in the middle of the movie, they go into war games. Mm-hmm. When they went into The Shining, my jaw hit the floor.
Like on screen when they went to
Yes. Oh my God.
It's incredible because that's a real hotel in Oregon. I know I've actually been to the Stanley Hotel, which is where The Shining is based on. And it's and they definitely really pump up. It's it's one of those 5-star hotels in the middle of Colorado. But know that the one that they filmed it in Oregon is still there. And that's probably what they did with it.
This is all CGI.
Wait, what?
The whole sequence is fake.
What?
I heard it was all CGI. Someone said it was the most expensive special effects sequence ever created.
That sounds intense because it's a real hotel in Oregon.
I'm dying to see the making of.
I'm surprised.
Did you see Crystal Skull?
Once.
Near the end of the movie, they open that big door with all the locks to go click, 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 click. And I was like, oh, that's CGI. In the making of, they really built it. And you're like, why? We just assumed it was fake. So I'm dying to know in Ready Player One, what did they build? Because when we went to the Ready Player One experience, they had the typewriter and the sheets of paper with the keys on it. Mm-hmm. That's flipping down the timer.
Yeah.
But I can't tell in the movie if that's real or CGI. You can't tell.
I wonder if they scanned some of the original Shining footage and
maybe
sort of composited it a little bit.
I know that they tried to get Nicholson's likeness, and he wouldn't go for it. That's why you only see him from
the back
hands,
or the hands or the feet. Yeah.
But I'm okay with that because I thought it was when he goes to push the button on the elevator. Everybody in the whole theater is screaming because we know what's going to happen.
Oh yeah. So no. It's one of those great little pieces of dramatic irony is when the audience is aware of what's going to happen, but the characters have no clue.
And when he goes to room 237, you're like, don't go in there, man. Are you crazy?
And then he sees the woman, and it's like, no, man, no. And then when he gets the inevitable surprise. it's hilarious. Because in the movie it's horrifying, but in this it's played up for comedy very effectively.
Yeah. Especially the scene where the Sixers are all getting killed by the woman in the bathroom, and they keep screaming. That one shot where they're like, ah! Everybody screaming with their heads off. Okay, so we'll move on from Ready Player One, and we'll talk about... Now, you're an actor.
Yes.
You're a performer.
I am.
You just got a part in a movie, an independent movie. What are you doing?
So the part in the movie I am playing Hector the Owl, and the movie is called A Fairy Tale After All. It's a lovely, awesome little movie. I read the script about a week ago. I'm pretty sure it's family friendly. It's a family friendly movie, basically about this this girl who sort of is having difficulties within her real life, and she kind of gets transported to this fantasy world, and that kind of solves her problems in her real, kind of like the Wizard of Oz,
sure,
or Alice in Wonderland a little bit. Like there's the real life, and then she goes into the fantasy, and then she kind of comes back, and I play Hector the Owl, which is basically the equivalent of Iago. One, he's a bird. Two, he's the evil sidekick relief to like the main evil villain.
But you're not going to do it like Gilbert Gottfried.
No.
That would destroy your voice.
Hector sounds a little bit like this. So it's kind of a combination of Jar Jar Binks, Stitch, and what was the third one? Stitch and Gollum.
And a little Gurgi from Black Cauldron.
I'll
dredge that up.
Yes. I actually watched Black Cauldron for the first time a couple months ago. It's a really cool little movie.
It's a gorgeous movie.
Oh, yeah.
God damn, it makes no sense. Mm-hmm. In the editing room, they chopped it to bits. What a missed opportunity. They should have made 10 of those.
Oh, yeah. I guess I watched, because I guess the version that's out now is not really the version that was out in theaters.
Yeah, no. They've tinkered with that movie more than almost any other Disney movie. That was the first movie that Katzenberg took control of when him and Eisner took over the company.
Oh, that was one of the DreamWorks guys.
Katzenberg's the guy who
He's the K in SKG.
Right. But Katzenberg's the guy who shepherded Disney from going from hostile takeover, where they were going to chop the company up, into Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, Lion King, and then he left the company.
Yeah.
But he brought Disney back from the brink. Katzenberg knows animation better than anybody on the planet, right?
Oh, yeah.
And even he went to screenings of it's in this book called Disney War, which I recommend. It's like 1,000 pages of the takeover of Disney. It is fascinating, right? Mm-hmm. But they talk about going to screenings of the Black Cauldron and how it makes no sense. And Katzenberg's talking to Roy Disney, the nephew guy.
Yeah. He's
like, what is this? And he goes, well, we sort of have feelings about movies, and we just animate sequences, and he goes, that's no. He goes, we're going to chop this movie. He goes, you don't do that with animation. He goes, I do. Mm-hmm. I do. And Black Cauldron was summer 85. It was supposed to be their big release for summer 85. Mm-hmm. In Starlog magazine, I always go back to Starlog because I read a lot of Starlog.
I remember you mentioning Starlog in earlier episodes.
Black Cauldron was supposed to have a holographic projector in the theater so that when the Horned King is dredging up the ghosts of the dead from the Black Cauldron, they were going to walk around the theater.
That sounds like a high promises.
And they never got it to work. At the same time, Tonka was working on an exact same item for their Supernaturals toy line, where the toy was going to project holograms that walked around your bedroom. They never got it to work, and the Black Cauldron came out, and even though it is beautifully animated, I mean, it's all done by hand by the original Disney animators. It's an unfortunate mess. Anyways, but John Biner does the voice of Gurgi, which is what that sounds like.
Yeah. Sounds like Gurgi. Yeah.
I can't do that with my voice. I'm always jealous. Luna can do that.
Yeah.
I don't know how you do that.
It's kind of a because when I was coming up with the character, I kind of because the original started with Gollum because the director saw because I usually from on my voiceover page. There's only 2 impressions I do because in like the voiceover community, if you want to like do impressions of well-known characters or celebrities, you got to be really good, and there is a bit of a market for that in voiceovers. Like if you want somebody, for example, like I know in like the Lego movie, they couldn't get the real Harrison Ford to voice Han Solo, so they got somebody who sounds just like him. You can do that, and there's also a small market of voiceovers where, let's just say, Whoopi Goldberg, random celebrity. Whoopi Goldberg she acts in a movie and she's really, really, really busy and she can't do like these one off-screen lines.
Sure.
So they just hire
the ADR.
Exactly. So they hire a voiceover actor to match stuff, and they don't get credited for it. But it's a pretty good way to make a living as a voiceover actor is to match a common celebrity. So that's another thing. But I can do some impressions, but like most of the impressions I do are like party impressions, you know?
Oh yeah, sure.
Like everybody does an Arnold.
We can all do that.
know?
And
Yeah.
the thing that we're doing is that from my generation, we're doing an impression of somebody's impression.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
I know. So,
Every Arnold now is that comedian who came up with the "Get to the chopper."
Right.
Whoever that guy is,
Yeah.
he created.
was that Pablo Francisco?
Is that his name?
I think so. He did like all the voices.
He's the Arnold impersonator,
Yeah.
and we've all just co-opted it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And it's funny. I mean, it's a funny, just the sound of
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
funny. Just the sound of the
We were
gargle.
doing it watching Jingle All the Way. Don't ask why.
I love that. Is my favorite Arnold
Is it
Schwarzenegger.
really?
It is. You know, put that cookie down. No,
That's
my
exactly the
favorite
line.
line.
Yes.
It's my favorite line in the
goes,
whole movie.
What's his name? His name is what's his name in the movie? Is that Hank? No. But it's Phil Hartman. He's like, "Hello, I'm just here. Your wife's baking some cookies.
Yeah.
They're so good." He goes, "What does he say?"
He says, "Put that cookie down." No. And my favorite line from that guy you're talking about the guy who's is it Hank Arnold? Not Hank Arnold, Tom Arnold. The guy who voices another guy who voices, but the Troy McClure guy.
Phil Hartman.
Phil Hartman.
Yeah.
Is when he says, "You can't bench press your way out of this one." That's my favorite line from him in that movie.
They're only
great.
young once. It's Howard. They're only young once, Howard. You got to do the best Christmases that you can. And what's weird is later in the movie they make him like a rapist.
Right? Like
It's a children's movie,
Right.
And all of a sudden he's not gonna rape her, but like he's
coming on strong.
Oh yeah,
Real strong.
She's told him no, and he's not taking no for an answer.
like kind of like borderline Harvey Weinstein level of trying to get in with his neighbor's wife.
I can't believe you've seen Jingle All the Way.
Of course I have. It's like one of my. It is my favorite Arnold movie, and I think a solid number 2 is James Cameron's not Terminator, even though I love Terminator.
True Lies.
True Lies.
Oh, I love True Lies.
So good.
I got a soft spot for True Lies.
Right, especially the scene when he's like has the other voice and he has the recording.
Yeah.
And
Now,
he's like trying to tell his wife to
move
do
your
something.
hands like your lover. Do it slowly. Do it doucement. Now, lie on the bed. Oh, it's great.
It's so
Here's the thing.
good.
I did an episode of True Lies on this show.
Yes, I think I remember that one,
Because
yeah.
I saw it the day I got married.
That's right,
And
because
it's-
you were on your wedding. You were looking for something to kill the time.
It's the ultimate movie about your marriage.
Mm-hmm.
Because in the movie, and not to digress, but I'll do it really quick, Arnold uses Jamie Lee Curtis. She's his cover. Mm-hmm. He doesn't think of her as like any kind of sexual anything. She's just a woman who stays at home and takes care of the kid so
Yeah.
that he has a cover story. And she's a bored housewife who thinks her husband's a complete loser computer software salesman.
Mm-hmm.
So she hooks up with Bill Paxton, who pretends to be a spy.
Mm-hmm.
So halfway through the movie, they find out that the very thing they're looking for is right next to them.
Yep.
She finds out her husband's a spy, and he finds out that she's completely sexy because they've shown her working out. Mm-hmm. She takes the glasses off, slicks the hair back, and you can see it in that scene you're talking about. When she starts dancing and taking her clothes off, his eyes light up. He can't believe it. And it's such a great movie because you think it's about terrorism, but it's not.
Yeah.
It's about marriage.
Mm-hmm.
It's about fighting for your marriage. And like, the scene where he interrogates her,
Mm-hmm.
you know, why have you been working with Carlos the Jackal?
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, what? And he goes, why did you do it? And she goes, well, I was bored. And then it's echoed later when he's drugged, and she interrogates him.
It's like, how many people have you killed anyone? Yeah, but they were all bad.
Exactly right. And he goes, I guess I'm gonna have to kill you. Really? Yeah, first I'm gonna use you as a human shield, then I'm gonna do this and this. And how will you do all that? You know my handcuffs? Yeah, I pick them. I love True. It's a remake of a French film.
Oh, it is?
But Cameron not worrying about Terminator or Titanic or Blue Aliens on Avatar. It's his one-off. Mm-hmm. And man, True Lies is good. Oh, yeah. It's so good.
I'd probably say that's my favorite James Cameron movie as well as my second Arnold Schwarzenegger favorite movie.
That sequence with the Harrier jump jet.
It's incredible.
It looks good even today. There's a couple of shots that look wonky, but for the most part, it looks like they're flying that Harrier above Florida.
Because it was pretty much before blue screen and green screen, because I think Lucas was the one, and this is actually one of my favorite episodes of 91 Reasons is the apology George Lucas thing, or defending George Lucas.
Defending George Lucas.
That was
of all his
great.
Contributions to film. Mm-hmm. Forget about Star Wars.
Yeah.
That's the tip of the iceberg. That's nothing. But yeah, no, that's a great movie. And you've seen it. A lot of people haven't seen it because it's not a catalog title.
Yeah, it's so strange how so good it is, and it's big budget, and it's a great action comedy romance, spy movie. It's I don't understand why.
Here's how I would recommend it. If you are a film aficionado of any kind, of how movies look, how they're made, what time period they're in, the shot of Jamie Lee Curtis being rescued from the limousine on the bridge is one of the most amazing stunts ever pulled off in a movie, and it's really her. And
it's her.
And it's really happening.
Wow, I didn't know it was really her, but
she was so proud of that scene that the following year at the Academy Awards, she entered being dropped off from a fake helicopter onto the stage. Because you can't believe what you're looking at. But it's really her, and the look of terror on her face, and she's just so excited. I mean, it's all real.
Wow.
Yeah, a great movie.
That's the magic I miss from the movies that isn't always here today.
I mean, you go to the movies now, and Vin Diesel is launching a car through the skyscrapers. And aren't they going to the moon now? The next Fast and Furious, they're on the moon driving cars.
It's almost like in general, I think those are pretty entertaining movies, but if they're going to the moon, it's almost like a set. I feel like sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes some movie franchises in their later installments of their movies, they're almost become a parody of the movie they started
Oh, they do,
making.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey, which I think is a great movie.
That's number 2,
It's number 2. They just eliminated all that because in the end credits, they go into space. And they're like, look, we're not making that movie. Here it is in the credits. Enjoy it. The movie's over. Goodbye.
There's been I've heard rumors of Bill and Ted 3 where they actually it's basically them as like because I know in like the first movie or the second movie they talk about how they're like the saviors of the world.
Yes, their music unites the world.
Yeah, and it basically deals with like that pressure of trying to aspire to be this person that George Carlin says, "Yeah, you're going to be the saviors," and this kind of like that. And I thought it was pretty interesting. And they're still into it. They're still like Keanu Reeves. He's still down. He's still down to make it.
I hope they do make. They did announce they were going to make it.
Yeah.
I hope that they do because it's nice to see in most cases these characters that we like getting older and being played for real and not just rebooting.
Yeah.
I'd rather have a sequel. Than a reboot.
I think that was the biggest mistake of the new Ghostbusters movie. I feel like it's a discredit to the female talent because actually I thought they had wonderful chemistry. I thought the girls did a great job, but I felt like because of the political agenda of the director and just honestly, if the movie was Ghostbusters 3 as opposed to a reboot, I think it would have been received a lot better.
Oh, I think so too.
Like there was all those cameos is like you mean Bill Murray's not going to be Dr. Venkman?
Yeah, he's some
other dude.
Yeah.
It's so strange. Well, like almost like a very small changes. Like the movie could have been the same, but if it was Ghostbusters 3, I think it would have been a lot better.
Or Ghostbusters: The Next Generation.
Yeah, like still same female cast. They did a great job. Like I said, it's a discredit to all their hard work and their talent because they did a really good job, those girls. But they're not going to do another one because there was this. They wanted to be controversial. Like,
they wanted to be controversial, and as far as film wise, they second guessed themselves, and that's the worst thing you can do.
Yeah,
because the movie was supposed to end with a dance sequence. The army, the army's frozen in a dance move.
Don't they have that in the credit sequence?
Is it the credits? But that was supposed to be the finale of the movie. They were supposed to dance, and they got cold feet at the end. And here's the thing: regardless of your movie, if you direct a tentpole summer franchise movie, and that's what it was,
yeah,
you shouldn't be on Twitter telling the fans to go F themselves.
Yeah,
they need to make a clause in these directors' contracts that they're going to get off Twitter. Who cares what happens on Twitter? It's not real. Anybody can write anything they want on Twitter, and Yahoo and all these news services treat it like, oh, here's what they said on Twitter. I don't care. What do I care about? Is the movie good?
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, in general, I don't really have my opinion of prequels and sequels and stuff is, if it's good, great. I don't even reboots, I don't really mind.
That's all I care about. Is it good?
Is it good? Yeah.
Exactly. Because I've been wrong before. I've told this story before. I went to see Casino Royale, the new James Bond, Daniel Craig, with my arms crossed because I'm a big James Bond fan.
Oh, yeah.
And I said, this guy's not James Bond. I don't know what this movie is. It's not... Because James Bond to me is fantasy, not realism. Mm-hmm. And you know what? Casino Royale is fantastic.
It's super
I
well written.
loved it.
Oh, yeah. It's
and
great.
I walked out going, I'm wrong. I'm totally wrong. Now... they proved me right in Spectre. That's a terrible movie. I couldn't believe how bad it was.
I enjoyed Spectre. I thought it was cool.
I hated Spectre. Oh my God, it made me angry. Because it didn't make any sense. And I want the Bond movies, as silly as they are, make sense.
Yeah, I think the Spectre movie was probably the most, as far as the recent James Bond movies, it seemed to have the most callbacks to more of a classical James Bond.
Yeah, they were trying. I mean, Spectre was the villain from the old movies.
Yeah,
but
also for after Skyfall, because Skyfall was probably one of the highest received Bond movies.
I love Skyfall.
Right? It's kind of, I mean, how are you gonna? It's sometimes like, how are you gonna follow that? Sometimes
I love YouTube because YouTube allows me to do something I dreamed of as a kid, and that's just watch scenes from movies.
Right? It's like, I just want to watch this scene. It's like, oh, here's the full quality version of just this scene.
When I was a kid, you'd have to fast forward and find the scene. This, you just go, I want to see the scene where Javier Bardem takes his teeth out.
And it's like, boom.
And there it is. And that scene, I remember seeing in the theater, blew me out of the back of the theater. Because I don't know how they did it. He pulls his top jaw out of his mouth, and... It's, he's talking to M, and M is like, you're supposed to be dead. You had a cyanide capsule. And he's like, yeah, I used it and it didn't work. And this is what it did to me. And it's all your fault. And I think, I love all that stuff, man.
Actually, I probably shouldn't say, I probably shouldn't say that. Well, what I was going to say. Because it's a huge spoiler for the movie if you haven't seen Spectre.
Oh, you can spoil it.
Okay, so spoiler alert. I'm waiting. So pause or mute it for the next 10 seconds. But Spectre is the one where M dies, right?
That's Skyfall.
That's Skyfall. Never mind.
Spectre.
It's a new M with Ray Fiennes. That's right. I forgot about that.
Spectre's the one where
Unspoiler.
Christoph Waltz is revealed as his brother or something.
Oh, yeah.
And there's a scene where he's got him strapped to a chair, and he's going to kill him, but he doesn't kill him, and there's no reason not to kill him.
Is that the one where he tortures him and they has that needle thing?
Yeah, it makes no sense. And then at the end...
I will say, I was cringing in that torture scene.
Oh, yeah, sure. It's hard to watch, right?
Yeah.
It's like the scene in Casino Royale where they're hitting him in the schnitz. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's really hard to watch.
They use like a bullwhip or something, or a bull
It's
clamp.
a knotted rope, and he's swinging, and then underneath the chair, and you're I can't watch this, man. And Bond just starts laughing at him.
Yep.
He goes, I got a scratch right here. And he hits him. Hard to watch, right?
Oh, yeah.
But there's a sequence at the end of Spectre where they escape the bad guy's lair, Blofeld's lair.
Yeah.
And Bond shoots a tank of gas or something and blows the whole thing up. And I thought,
I remember that.
Is this a dream sequence? Is he still in the chair?
That's the one where they shot it for real, and it's like the huge explosion, right?
Yeah.
And they shot. From what I remember, that was all real, and that was all one take.
Oh, it looked great.
Yeah.
But story-wise, it made no sense. Why would you build a lair for your nefarious activities with a giant propane tank that can blow? I mean, it just makes no sense.
Yeah, I've only seen Spectre and Skyfall once each, both in theaters, so my memory's a little fuzzy. You have an incredibly sharp memory when it comes to anything. I think last time I was on this podcast, I said that even though I have my bachelor's in film studies, I am constantly getting schooled by you, and you have your degree in theater, right?
No, I don't have a degree. No,
What?
I'm just me.
See?
I'm just
you didn't have a
me.
degree, and you school me all the time. And I have my degree in film studies, which means I got my degree in watching movies, and I'm continuing to school.
Did you date a lot?
My dating scene back in
Were you successful in dating women in high school and college?
Okay, let's just put it this way. I'm engaged right now. From the moment I've had one girlfriend to my engagement, it has been I've had 3 girlfriends. 3 like official girlfriends in my life.
I haven't any.
No?
0. So all I did was watch movies. And here's the thing. Not only did I watch movies, but I bought all these books on plot development, special effects, movie books by directors. There's a lot of great books out there you can find where it's the director's journal. There's a great one for Empire Strikes Back where Irvin Kershner just day to day, here's what we filmed today. And you get such an insight into how movies are made.
What's that one called?
It's
just Empire.
Empire Strikes Back, the director's notebook, I think.
Oh, that's good.
You can get it as a paperback.
Yeah, my roommate, Matthew Robinson, that is his favorite movie, and it's his birthday coming up soon.
Yeah.
So maybe, so Matthew is my creative partner. We do
And here's the thing.
Yeah.
Empire Strikes Back's a masterpiece.
Oh, yeah.
But that doesn't mean that Irvin Kershner is a great director. Because he didn't make any other notable movies.
That's something that's very interesting.
Isn't that weird?
It's sort of like the, and I actually don't like this book, the J.D. Salinger thing, where it's like, is J.D. Salinger a great author? I mean, he's kind of made only one book, or he's only been famous for one book.
He's famous for Catcher in the Rye.
Yeah.
But he also wrote, Fanny and Bryce?
I have no idea.
Is that what it's called? But it's not as well known.
Yeah.
And he's mostly known for not selling the movie rights.
Yeah, he's kind of like, what's the Calvin and Hobbes?
Bill Watterson.
Yeah, Bill Watterson. I watched that documentary, the Letters to Bill Watterson or something.
That's a great documentary.
It's a great and it's funny because it sort of talks about the story of like the rise of popularity in his humble beginnings, how he's kind of like almost like a ghost.
Yeah.
And that he won't even do any merchandising rights. And even the fans in the documentary like, would it kill you to do a tiger plush doll? Come on.
Do they tell the story in that of the company that found out where he lived?
Wait, what's the story?
I think it was Dakin.
Dakin?
Which is a company that makes plush animals. They made all the Garfield ones.
Oh, okay.
So they made a plush Hobbs and mailed it to him and said, this is what we're going to make. And he set it on fire and mailed it back.
Oh my god.
Yeah, Bill Watterson's
he is a mess.
Here's a guy who was very successful. In my opinion, it's the greatest comic strip that's ever been.
It's great.
To me, it's above Peanuts. It's above any of the... I mean, and I write for Snoopy.
Yeah.
But Calvin and Hobbes made me cry when I was a kid. The storyline where Calvin kills that bird...
Oh, it's been a long time.
And he has to hibernate the eggs because his mom's like, you killed the mother. Oh, it's so touching, right?
Yeah.
And the strip defied expectations, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, God, I was such a Calvin and Hobbes fan. I made 2 or 3 stuffed Hobbes and gave them out as gifts to people because they don't make them, right?
Yeah.
But here's a guy who made his money. He retired the strip, around 94, 95, retired it, said, I'm done, walking away, and arguably gave up, what do you think?
Probably, I don't know.
$3 billion or more?
Yeah, that's probably pretty much it. I mean, merchandising, movies. I mean, J.K. Rowling is a billionaire from the Harry Potter novels. Yeah. And I think a big reason why is because she wanted 1% of like all the money.
She kept control.
She kept, and 100% creative control. And it was like because I currently work at Universal Studios, and from what I heard, she basically had this clause in her contract that up until basically like the day before it could open, she could like walk around, see something she didn't like, and just like that, shut the whole thing down.
Yeah, there's a great website called, what's it called? It's a guy who does insider stuff for the theme parks. Mm-hmm. It's really good. And he was there at the opening of Harry Potter when it first opened in Florida, right? You know what you're talking about. Mm-hmm. And the week before, J.K. Rowling and her family were there. And the family was eating lunch, and she's not with them. And somebody came up and said, "Where's Joe?" You know, she likes to be called Joe. Mm-hmm. And I guess this is all hearsay, but the husband said, "Oh, she's painting." And the family just sort of rolled their eyes because they know their mother is a complete control freak. Mm-hmm. She had seen somebody painting moss on the castle, and they weren't doing it right. Huh. So she took over. And they said that's J.K. Rowling in a nutshell. And that's why Disney let the contract lapse, because they had it first.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember that, like, they went to Disney first. Basically, they just didn't. Yeah, it was part of it. They didn't give her creative control, and they didn't give her enough money. So she went to Warner Brothers, and they were like, "Yeah."
Well, what happened was, this is again hearsay.
Yeah.
Disney was going to build boutique parks, 2 or 3 in America, that was just a Harry Potter theme park. A lot smaller than a Disney park, but more concentrated.
Yeah.
And Rowling said, "Fine. Every kid has to come in on the Hogwarts Express. Every kid has to tap the bricks at Diagon Alley, da-da-da-da-da." And Disney said, "There's no way to do that. Capacity-wise, there's no way to do that. We can't do it." And Universal Studios said, "Whatever you want.
Whatever you want.
We'll do it.
We'll do it.
We'll figure a way." And guess what? If it's good enough, people will wait in line.
Oh, yeah,
and
absolutely.
they're right.
Oh, yeah. You know, as a person who is a performer at Universal, I see, like, the Harry Potter is by far the most popular attraction there.
Well, you know what happened is, again, hearsay. This is stuff I read off websites. I have no insider knowledge. Is that there's a thing called a per cap, which is what a guest will spend while they're in the park for the day. Mm-hmm. And the higher the per cap, the better your park does, right?
Yeah.
And an average per cap is not very high. Because if you've got X amount of people in the park and each one spends $8, that's a significant amount of money. Mm-hmm. They were watching the per caps coming out of the Wizarding World of Harry Potter, and the per cap when it opened was over $100.
Yep.
Which means most people are spending $300 to make up for the people that aren't spending any money.
Yep.
And they try to figure out like why. And they said, well, every kid has to have a robe,
and
a wand. They want to eat. They want a butterbeer, and it's not negotiable.
Yep.
Like, they have to have all this stuff.
When I was there, because when the first time I was a guest at Universal, I was 8 years old, and the second time was a couple months ago, and me and my fiance went with a group of with another couple, and when we were there, she really wanted a wand, she really wanted a robe, and she got her butterbeer and she got the food. But I eventually got her. I kind of like talked to her, like, you don't need the robe. And I secretly bought her the robe and gave it to her as a gift later.
Great.
So it was like one of those sneaky significant others. It was like, oh, I see what you did.
We bought Josie a robe at Hot Topic, right?
Oh yeah?
And one day we were out and about, and I just had this crazy idea. Let's just go to Universal Studios. We'll just, last minute, we'll just go. Mm-hmm. And Josie said, I don't want to go. I don't have my robe. And I said, you have to have the robe? She goes, it's not worth going unless I have the robe. And I was like, that's commitment, kid. Because if my mother had told me, I'd have just said, sure.
Right.
We haven't gone. It's been a year. We haven't gone because she wants to go in the robe with the wand.
But she has a robe.
We were out and about.
Oh, you were out and about.
It was at home.
It was just like a spontaneous, hey, let's go. It was like, no, without my robe.
So what are you working on now? Let's get to the meat of this.
Yes, so right now I am producing and acting in a play for the Hollywood Fringe called Blackballed. And Blackballed is about the rise and fall of Negro League Baseball. Yeah, a lot, and it kind of deals with the when the Negro Leagues kind of started off, and they kind of were, trying to get more attention, more people in the seats. And then it got really, really, really popular. And then people in Major League Baseball started noticing, like, wow, there's like a lot of really good players. And so they basically started nitpicking all the best players. And what happened as a result of that. It's like, yeah, integration and progression and all that good stuff. But sort of like the side that people don't see is there's a whole industry basically collapsed because of the integration of baseball, and that kind of deals with that. But overall, it's a really well-balanced play. There's some humor in it, and I like to say that it's it's sort of like a league of their own, but with black people.
You took the words right out of my mouth.
Yes.
Like, it's one of those things where they saw a gap, and back then times were different.
Yes.
And somebody said, I don't care if you're racist. I don't care if you're a bigot. This makes money.
Exactly.
So why aren't we doing this? And these guys can play.
Oh, yeah. Branch Rickey was one of the biggest advocates of integrating baseball. He's the guy who owned the Brooklyn Dodgers back in the day. He's the one who was the head honcho of trying to get Jackie Robinson into the major leagues.
Did he play in the other league?
Yeah, he played for the Kansas City Monarchs.
Wow.
That was the team.
Hey, I'm learning about baseball.
Right? There's a whole bunch of Negro League teams all over the United States. There was the Newark Eagles. There were the Philadelphia Grays.
Has there been a movie?
No, there's been a lot of movies.
I would love to see this as a movie, because I'll tell you, I watch A League of Their Own way too much.
It's a great movie.
I'm going to do an episode on it soon, because, this movie means a lot to me. Can't figure out why. I just think it's phenomenal.
No,
I don't like wonderful. Madonna. I don't like Rosie O'Donnell. I love Tom Hanks and Gina Davis.
Right.
But God, it's so good.
This
one would be equally as good. So where is this play at?
The play is going to be up this June. Opening night is June 3rd. We also have shows June 7th, 14th, 23rd, and 16th as well. And it's going to be in Hollywood at the Complex in the Ruby Theater. And Matthew and I have been putting on... So Matthew Robinson is the writer and director of the play. Matthew and I have been collaborating.
Oh, so this is an original work.
This is an original work.
Fantastic.
It's the world premiere.
I had no idea. That's fantastic.
Yes.
That's congratulations.
That's
a lot of work.
It is a lot of work. But we really, Matthew and I really enjoy putting on these shows and, try to reach out to as many people as we can. And last year we did a play called Mary's Medicine, which was very well received. And that was about this half Jamaican, half Scottish nurse during the Crimean Wars. And it's sort of it kind of shed light on some unsung heroes of history like Mary Seacole. There's a lot of people who know who Florence Nightingale is, but they don't know Mary Seacole because basically she's swept under the rug because she was just some black nurse. But this play really is very empowering.
Hey,
so
the only thing better than a good story is a good story that happens to also be true.
Yes, and Blackballed is very true. It's very historically accurate, but it's still really entertaining at the same time. And if you're into baseball, it's a great play for you because not only does it get into the Negro Leagues, but also a lot of history into regular MLB, Major League Baseball as well.
Yeah, like I watched Moneyball.
Oh, yeah.
And I thought I was going to hate it. And I really enjoyed it because they didn't show a second of actual baseball in it.
Right.
It was the mechanics of the business of baseball and the math of baseball.
Yeah, this play is a lot like that. Actually, Matthew, as a director, one thing he likes to do for the cast, including myself, is he'll give the cast and each individual actors movies to watch and sort of to get a good feel for it. And Moneyball was one of them, particularly for my character, because my character is John Fletcher. He wasn't a real character. Actually, he's the only character in the play that is not based on a real person in history. But my character sort of symbolizes...
he's an amalgam.
Yeah, exactly. Sure. And Moneyball was one of the ones. So if you like Moneyball, you're going to love Blackballed.
All right, is there a website they can go to?
Yes, you can find showtimes and tickets at hff.org/5051. Or if you just Google Blackballed Hollywood Fringe, it's the first thing that pops up.
And we'll make sure all the information is in the show notes if you want to check it out.
Yes, and for your 91 Reason listeners, we're going to give you guys a special discount code for tickets. You'll get $5 off the ticket, and the discount code is 91 Reasons.
Oh, that's easy to remember.
Right? That's the discount code for the listeners.
All right, well, Robby and I were talking earlier. My SD card is running out of space, so we're almost out of time, but I want to make sure we get all the plugs in. Go see this show. It sounds great.
Yes, it's a lot of fun. We've been rehearsing like many times, many hours throughout the week.
And we always say support local artists.
Yes.
Local art is what it's all about. It doesn't matter what medium it is. Mm-hmm. If somebody is putting themselves out there, support them.
Yes, support and go. Honestly, outside of the Blackballed, you should go see some other shows in the Hollywood Fringe because you'll see some wonderful plays. And I mean, it's such a great experience. It's just a wonderful and friendly community.
Perfect. All right. Well, thanks for coming on the show, Robby, and talking movies.
Yeah.
And more importantly,
anytime.
your show that you're doing.
Absolutely.
And we'll make sure we get this episode up soon so people can check it out and get a ticket.
Yeah.
And sell it out.
Yeah, hopefully last year we sold our last 2 shows. Hopefully we're going to sell out more this time. And tickets are already being sold, so get your tickets before they're gone because we're probably going to sell out a good portion of our shows.
That's fantastic. It sounds like a great show. It's a great topic. It's current. Yes. It's also historical. That's great.
Thank you.
Well, thanks, Robby, for coming on the show.
Of course.
You want to do the end here?
Yeah.
The show is called what?
91 Reasons.
Thanks for listening to 91 Reasons. Please subscribe and leave a review on iTunes. Find us on Facebook. Is anyone even still listening?
I remember when this was all farmland as far as the eye could see. Old man Peabody owned all of this. He had this crazy idea about breeding pine trees.